Hello everybody, I am Angry Bird. Welcome back to a new Steel Division League cast today. The dog's already started in the background. We have the second in the best of three match between Skoda and Tiger for the Steel Division League Division 2 playoffs finals, but it's round one of those playoffs. So, Skoda this time on the left-hand side in blue. Ooh, spoilers, guys. If you haven't watched the previous game, go back, watch it. It's a great game to watch. And obviously, if you haven't watched it, I'm now going to talk about the results. So, stop. Go back. Skoda, he is going to be playing the Airborne again. This time, it's not the 6th Airborne. It is the 3rd Fallschirmjäger. So, are we seeing a paratrooper in the making? For Skoda and Tiger this time, he's playing the 3rd Guards Tank Corps. The map is Boba, and yeah, Skoda on flatline income, Tiger on Maverick, going to be looking to get those IS-2s out in B phase, I believe. So let's see how this one works out. Let's have a look at the decks. On the left-hand side, we have Skoda. He's playing the 3rd Fallschirmjäger on flatline income. He's got those SPW AB 41s in the A phase. He's got 83 units of infantry. I don't think the infantry will be too much of a problem because he's coming up against 3rd Guards Tank Corps. They can get enough infantry, but not, you know, masses and masses. You don't have to build for a massive long game against the 3rd Guards Tank Corps. What you do have to worry about is those IS-2s. He's got the HS-129B3s in the A phase air tab and B phase. He's got some PaK 40s. They can certainly do the job, not necessarily at 2k range, but they can get the side shots as well, remember. He's got Stug 3Gs. That's going to be the backbone, or, well, the only kind of armoured play he's got. Is it going to be enough on this Boba map? Well, it is an infantry map. It is pretty much, you know, mostly buildings and some forests up north, so those armoured vehicles, they aren't quite as necessary as on other maps. In terms of off-map, he does have some great off-maps in the 1st Fallschirmjäger. He's got 1 in A phase and 2 in B phase. I'm sure he'll be using them pretty hotly. Let's have a look over to the right-hand side. Tiger's in red. He's playing the 3rd Guards Tank Corps. I think we're pretty familiar with the 3rd Guards Tank Corps. They're a very strong division. They've been strong since the beginning of the game, but they are starting to be overtaken in terms of their power by other divisions. But that's more to do with the meta change in the very high level I'm talking about now, very high level, more towards, you know, large groups of infantry, which is why we're starting to see them being played again, because they aren't getting banned like they used to be. 3rd Guards Tank Corps used to be, you know, a definite ban, and now it's kind of like, you know, the other divisions are getting banned, so we're seeing the 3rd Guards Tank Corps getting played a lot more, which is good. I like that. I'm liking that aspect. They do have a lot of Shermans to rely on, and they've got those IS-2s, and it's that counterplay between the Sherman being such a great CQC tank and the IS-2 being such a great long-range tank that often leads to victory for the 3rd Guards Tank Corps. They have the PE-2 in the bomber, the PE-2 bomber in the air tab. That's a very heavy bomber. It's really good at doing its job. They've got great equipment in every tab. In terms of dealing with those Stugs, I think the Emchers are going to want to get close range. In terms of the numbers of infantry, 86, it's just enough infantry. And yeah, I'm sure we're going to see a fantastic matchup between these two players. Okay, so we get into the game. Let's recap. On the left-hand side in blue, we have Skoda playing the 3rd Fallschirmjäger on flatline income. Looks like he's going fairly decent up top and actually making a little push down south. On the right-hand side in red, we have Tiger. He's playing the 3rd Guards Tank Corps on Maverick income. So I expect, wow, he's going pretty aggressive up north as well. Ognamachiki's passing Flammenwerfers, and the leader goes down there. The Flammenwerfers do get into position, but those Ognamachikis are in the back lines now. So that is going to be somewhat difficult for Skoda to deal with, or at least he's got to remember that they're there. The Guardias all start to unload from Tiger, as well as the Tanko Disaniki. Didn't establish the foothold on the other side of the river like he would have wanted. The OB25 does start to engage the MG42, but the MG42 should win that out. However, in comes the IL2M to turn the tide, and I think the OB is just going to get away with it with the help of the IL2M bomber coming in here. Shots being taken from the Pak 3850 onto the Emcha. The Emcha surviving for now. Down goes the MG42, but the OB25 will have to deal with another MG42 as well at some point. Looks like loader wounded onto one of the Shermans. IL2M still flying around in the background. Kind of surprised he didn't go for the strafe on the Pak 3850. Maybe he wanted to do that, but didn't quite get it to work. The Flammenwerfers do unload on the southern side, and one of them is being advanced upon by an Ognamachiki. I think Tiger wants to know what Skoda has there, but they aren't in fantastic positions right now. They're in reasonable positions, but not amazing positions. Tiger has a lot of infantry just lined up on the edge of the river here, along with the Emcha, with that fire support, hitting the MG42, really not giving Skoda something to think about. And the Tanko Disaniki head into the forest and do take full control of that forest. The Molotov cocktails doing the job there in that heavy close quarter range engagement. The Panzerschreck has moved out of the way. The Pak gun, the Pak 38 that was in here, has gone down. That's enabled the Emchas to push forward once again. The infantry is now going to cross the river, and this is a pretty big push from Tiger. He's 13-11 up. He doesn't have an income advantage at this point. It's going to take him till 10 minutes before that gets to become the case, but there's no kind of anti-tank down here on this southern side, so that Emcha can sit all day long and just blast away at the enemy units and really use its 50 cals and its 30 cals, like single 50 cal and double 30 cal effectively as fire support. Emchas not quite crossing the river yet up north. The OB25 does encounter the MG42. Once the Ognamachiki get in range, they'll definitely take care of that. The OB25 may go down, though, to this last burst of fire from the MG42. No, Skoda trying to call that back before it actually gets fully suppressed. There is a Pak 40 now, but it's going to be close range. It's going to end up being a close range engagement with the Shermans, which doesn't really favour the Pak 40. MG42 coming up to try and cover off this flag here and reconnect the front line for Skoda with those Flammenwerfers. We do still have a unit of Flammenwerf behind enemy lines. There is a WLA motorbike in there now, although it looks like the Guardia have actually found that unit of Flammenwerfers. Smoke is popped and Skoda looks to move that forwards onto the flank. Will they come into play later? I'm not quite sure at this point. They're going to be pretty far out of the action up there, but they are holding some front line. They are actually holding some front line. They do have that Raider tag on these Fallschirmjäger Flammenwerfers, so they may well actually get this flag up north right now. Just these two men. Yes, they are going to do that. Wow. So Skoda is actually 14-10. Tiger's across the river on the enemy side, but Skoda's 14-10. Who would have thought it? IL2M does take care of the MG42 in the south. And the 76.2mm is falling back here. I'm not sure whether that was... I presume that was the MG42 that was firing on that Zis 3 gun. Skoda's got to worry about this flag down here because he has this Flammenwerf kind of holding the territory, but he's lost the one a little bit further north. And this unit of Guardia may well pick that flag up. No, it is going to divert further south. But if this Guardia comes in... yeah, he's going to sit in the center of the river. May well just pick this flag up and hold that flag. And sometimes just holding a flag like that, you know, where the enemy might not realize for 10 minutes can get you a really good advantage. Looks like some Razvedka came in possibly to recon this northern side, but they're now being reallocated further up north. They do have the bazooka, and yeah, really interesting call out. Great timing on bringing in that Razvedka because he won't know that Skoda's literally just ordered 3 armoured units, so fantastic call from that. Really preemptive decision. There is a flak 3637 here, currently pinning down a lot of troops from pushing forwards, but they are going to be in the line of fire anytime soon. IL2M coming in again, trying to hit that Pak 40. Kind of surprised he doesn't just use his Emcha quite aggressively and come around the side here and then just pop up. At that kind of range, the Pak 40 is going to get one shot if it's lucky. But, you know, This is me. Oh, AB41 goes down there, I think, to the close-range Emcher shot. This is me having time to think about things. Obviously, Tiger's playing the game, or was at the time of playing the game, so, you know, I can understand, you know, players not doing my suggestions. Plus, I don't always make the best suggestions. I might have a suggestion. It's not necessarily the best course of action. Yeah, the Guardia DP just sitting in the river here, taking care of that flag, like we said earlier. And Tiger's now up to 14-10, having picked up this flag here as well. The Flammenwerfers are being dispatched. Looks like he is using the mortar bite to try and hit that Luftwaffe, sorry, Fallschirmjäger Flammenwerfer up on this northern side, but nowhere near. Must have just been a complete guess there, which kind of is a waste of mortar shots. Surely it'd be better trying to hit this Pack 38 or some of the infantry in the buildings, at least where you know that they are. He is actually falling back a unit of Guardia. I think he's obviously assuming that he hit the target there and he's trying to pick up a surrender. He may well just leave that unit there as well, and that will control the flag, because he keeps losing that flag to the Fallschirmjäger Flammenwerfer. First off map we see in here the Bayo Schwim 210, and that's a fantastic call because all of these units are grouped up right now, and off map in this area would take care of a lot of pressure currently coming down onto Skoda. Wow, intense action at the start of this game. It feels like there is now a little bit of a let up. We are 7 minutes 50 in. And Tiger's up to a, well, he was up to a 15-9 briefly then. We're not even in his period of major income advantage. The off-map is placed down on a pretty decent spot there. 4 units all caught in that spot. The Emcher moving in there as well, and the units of Guardia moving in there, but I don't think they're actually going to be in the position when that off-map artillery does come down. Skoda is pushing back in here now. There are reinforcements coming in from Tiger. IL-2M. Looks like it's going to try and hit the Fallschirmjäger in the building. We have an M42 gun coming up. That might just push through the off-map. We have Emchers coming up as well. Yep, it does. Luckily it unloads. Luckily it uploads there and wasn't lost in that vehicle. But huge off-map onto the position, and it is forcing a complete halt to Tiger's reinforcements, but nothing is really going down here. I think Tiger has kind of got away with that, and I think that's a little bit unfortunate for Skoda. Fallschirmjäger push forward slightly. IS-2 coming up to the northern side, so Tiger's had enough. He's bringing in the IS-2, and actually we're pre B phase, so he's obviously saved up a little bit of income to do that. The Emchers do now make it up there and should be able to take care of the AB-41s, stop them from firing on his infantry. Yeah, most of his units there did survive, despite that heavy off-map, which is really unfortunate for Skoda. Looks like he's targeting the, I think he's targeting the Panzerschreck, yeah, and he does get the kill. So identified that early, knew it was a threat to his Emchers, or would be at some point in this game, and does take care of it. He's actually advancing with an Emcher further south, and wow, look at this movement order here. He's bringing it all the way down south. And we don't see any reinforcements down south yet, so very interesting. Actually, a unit of Flammenwerfer is going to come into this forest. Yeah, very interesting. Whoa, look at that shot! From the Emcher, moving away all the way up the road to hit that Stug. What a fantastic shot. That guy in that Emcher, that gunner, man, what a shot that was. Unbelievable. Just wheels itself straight up to the MG42 in the building as well, and that thing is going down. Absolutely going down. Tiger takes control of the flag, actually takes this flag here as well, up to a 16-8 right now. 12 minutes on the clock, and we've only just hit B phase, where Tiger gets 500 points extra over Skoda. Another off-map here. This one, not quite as good, because Tiger has his units further back here. I don't think he's going to push forwards from this position. I think he's just going to hold the edge of this forest. Although he does have a lot of reinforcements coming in here, so I think he's going to wait for those reinforcements. Some of them coming further south, though. And an IS-2 into the center as well. Emcher's pushing across the bridge here. Tiger is making his way further south. There is a Pak 3850 holding onto that bridge, but the Emcher is now in sight. Skoda backs that 3850 away. That's a... Oh, no. Well played, because the Panzerschreck is here and does get the kill. It is going to go down, but that was the job that it was there to do. And it may actually escape with its life, but the Tanko Desanikis, I'm assuming, are going to hunt that thing down. And the Pak 38 should now reassume its position. I was initially kind of thinking it was a bad call to pull that one away, because there was just one Emcher there. So if it could take that Emcher down, then at least you get rid of a huge threat. But I did not notice the Panzerschreck there at the time, and that was a fantastic play by Skoda. No real movements on the south, and like I said before, Tigers had this flag, courtesy of that Guardia in the middle of the river for such a long time now. And if you just nick a flag, and your enemy doesn't realise it, you can hold a flag lead for a very long time. Looks like the off-map has just finished up in the north, but we do have the IS-2 coming very far forward. Well, I said has finished, has not quite finished. So the IS-2 could be coming into harm's way here. The infantry does all have Panzerschrecks on it up here, so, or Panzerfaust. So that IS-2 is not exactly in a fantastic position. It's going to be fighting fairly close range, but I guess the most at the moment that Skoda has to deal with it is the Stugs, or otherwise somehow getting his infantry perhaps around to try and deal with that IS-2. It's going to be really hard dispatching that. Oh, in comes the HS-129. This is a decent unit to do that job. And it looks like the IS-2 might be... Yeah, he's running away. He's getting hit from behind. Run away. Oh, it looks like the line of sight. I think we saw those... We saw the fire coming in from the HS-129 just missing. So that IS-2 actually saved itself by running away, because it went out of line of sight of that HS-129. And it is being chased by the IL-2M here. It's like a micronet onto the rear of that HS-129, and it should get the kill. There is no real AA. There was a Flak 37, I believe, in here at some point, but it has gone down. So we are 15-9 still, 10 minutes left for Skoda to come back into this game, but it's going to be mighty difficult with that income advantage so far down. Oh, the Pak 38. Was that the bombs from the IL-2M? Fantastic play there from Tiger. Taking out the HS-129 and then coming around and dropping bombs on its egress out. What a fantastic play there. And look at the position of these Emchers. Oh, it's this one up here on the hill, firing down onto the reinforcement zone. It's going to bring in reinforcements in really, really hard for Skoda. Fantastic position here. Lovely. Skoda reacts, bringing in 3 Stugs, and they can definitely deal with the Emchers, but we have an IS-2 on the way. Can they deal with the IS-2? That is one question. Looks like the Guardias have been finally forced back from their position on the river, holding that... bridged flag, and they're not Marines, they're just standard infantry. They got to be fully wet through after spending probably a good 10 minutes just sat there in a river. In comes the P2 83, sorry. Does hits, yeah, does claim the pins onto the Fallschirmjäger, and they probably will surrender now to the Aftermachiki. I don't think the other Fallschirmjäger not in range to prevent that surrender, and the Aftermachiki should pick up both of them. Oh, being fired on by the Emcher as well. That leaves just the one Fallschirmjäger here against 2 Aftermachiki and a Tanko Desaniki with more in support as well, and I think that's going to go down. I assume at some point Tigers are going to launch these Tanko Desanikis through these buildings towards the MG42 as well. I'm kind of interested to see what happens down here with the Fallschirmjäger. They do now start engaging, although the Aftermachiki have come under fire from the Stug. That pins them down. They should switch fire. Yes, they do, onto the Aftermachiki. And who's going to win this one out? Because those Fallschirmjägers, they do have the FG42, which is a pretty beastly weapon. But it looks like the Fallschirmjägers are going to lose out here to the Aftermachiki. I think the MG42s are trying to come across to help out. But they're not quite moved into the right building to do that. This building would have been better. And the Aftermachikis win it out, which is a good thing. It's a good thing. I like to see the Aftermachikis doing well because they are the original forest killers. And sometimes I watch them and I think, are they as good as they should be? But yeah, from that performance, they're definitely doing well. The IS-2 does now move into position to cover this road off, and I wouldn't be surprised if it moves all the way down here to have an even better line of sight on the reinforcement road. 17-7 to Tiger right now. 6 minutes left on the clock, and it's looking very bleak for Skoda. Just constant reams of Guardia pouring through the back lines, and it is looking rather desperate for Skoda at this point. Tiger advancing in the south as well now. He's definitely been using that Maverick income to his advantage, and just look at the numbers of units he has on the field. Skoda has a decent amount. I don't think he's been trading like terribly. He didn't do so well in the northern part, but I don't think he's been trading terribly. But yeah, I think the income advantage, I think that has taken somewhat of a toll here in this B phase. And Tiger just spread south from the north. I think it was quite a good decision here. He did get pinned back up in this northern side. We can see the amount of off-map coming down into that position. I think if he'd have just continued to fight after this, pretty much this one flag, and then once he established control, try to move south, I think he would have been in a worse position right now than he is. He kind of fought as far as he could, and then started getting pushed back, and then concentrated moving further south with his units over this bridge, and then this bridge. And I think that was a very good decision from him. Skoda, what could he have done differently? I'm not quite sure. I think this is where my limits as a player come in. How do you deal with the third guards differently in this circumstance? It's a tough to say. I don't know. Leave your thoughts down in the comments below. What do you think Skoda could have done a little bit differently? I think he was just in a tough position against Maverick Income in the way that the game started. I think if he had made a decisive breakthrough up north in this start and managed to resupply, managed to really take control of this hill, then that really would have stunted Tiger's B phase. But how he could actually have done it, I'm not sure, because Tiger had a lot of units up in this northern side. Could Skoda have concentrated on the south a bit more, perhaps? But, you know, Tiger was pouring everything into the north. So how can you defend against everything coming up north and attack at the same time in the south? It's really a tough call. Maybe we could hear from some of the better players in the game as to how they would have combated Tiger in this situation. Someone like Gonzo or Tiger himself coming in with a comment or two, or Curbs, or some other players in Division 1 or the top level Division 2, or even Skoda himself, maybe after watching the game, could come back and say what he could have done differently. It would be really different. It would be really cool to know, because I think I am struggling to kind of say, well, what could I have done? You know, I still need to learn, and I think a lot of players who pick up the game need to learn how to deal with these attacks. Is there anything that could have been done? IS-2's now doubled up in this central position. I think Tiger's just on defense right now. I mean, he's 18-6 up. There's less than a minute on the clock. He is pushing down here in the south. It's going to be 19-5. And I think he's just kind of halted his positions exactly where he is. He's just going to hold what he's got. And I think Skoda kind of has as well, if I'm honest, from the looks of it. Looks like there's some micro going on in this position here, trying to relieve pressure off these two flags. If he does, it might give him some more time. We do have an IS-2 moving up north here. We've got IL-2Ms coming in to hit this Fallschirmjäger, although they back off again. May have gone out of line of sight briefly there. We have a Pack 40 moving in. That can at least challenge the IS-2 as it comes into view now. We'll see whether it can get that kill. No, not enough time. Not enough time. There we have it. Tiger gets the victory. 2,100 kills to 1,200 losses. And that was a fantastic display with the 3rd Guards Tank Corps, and still shows how good a division they are. Wow, look at the start. Look at the start. These 3 units, 2 MCHs and 1 IL-2, responsible for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16 kills. Man alive, the trade that happened with these 3 units. I mean, the MCHR on the Stug kill is trade enough. The Pack 38, again, that's trade enough. And then you add on the other units as well. Similarly down here, this one not quite as many in terms of the unit type that it's taking out in terms of impressiveness, but the amount there combines to at least pay itself off. And the IL-2M did a great job, as well as taking out that HS-129 and then circling down to take out the Pack 38. What a great move that was. IS-2 coming in here, dispatching 2 Stug 3Gs. I think Tiger will be pleased with that. The other IS-2s dispatching the Stug 3Gs. And yeah, Škoda never really dealt with those IS-2s, but he had too much on his plate. Just too much on his plate to deal with. Let's have a look at the losses. I mean, mostly, you know, 1-for-1 trades from Škoda's units. Most of his infantry not picking up kills, though. And I would think that's because of the fire support coming from the MCHs that just meant that those infantry units just couldn't kill the enemy infantry because they were constantly under fire from Tiger's supporting weaponry. The off-map really did give some breathing room to Škoda up north. Didn't really take out many in terms of kills, but at least it gave him a little bit of breathing room, but then Tiger started spreading down south, and yeah, that breathing room was over in like 60 seconds. What a great game. Hopefully you enjoyed it too. Leave your comments down below. Let me know what you think, how you think Škoda could approach that differently. Congratulations to Tiger. He moves through to the semi-finals and will face off against RM34, I believe. Join me again. Remember, hit that subscribe button. Don't miss any matches, and head into the description for the links to my social pages, and also support me. Help me make more content for you guys. Thanks very much for watching. I am Angry Birds. I will see you next time.